Hello everyone, VVizard here once again. It may be a little late, but Happy New Year everyone! To really kick off 2024, we have a brand new character reveal for VVizard's Final Frenzy. This character was quite the team effort, being a collaboration with ViviVinya, Artist of Seer, and JH. Well, okay. Without further ado, let's check it out. In my restless dreams, I see that game, Rivals of Aether. We promised we would make a Silent Hill character for it, and so we did. Pyramid Head, or Red Pyramid Thing as he is also known as, one of the main bosses and antagonists from Silent Hill 2 arrives in Rivals of Aether Workshop. This was probably the longest character of ours has been in development, first being teased in late 2021 actually, but how did all of that come to be? Just like Resident Evil, Silent Hill is also one of my favorite gaming series, one that I grew up with but only recently dove deep into, playing through the first 4 titles in the series and falling in love with it. The idea of representing Silent Hill in Rivals was a bit hard to grasp, but I knew that the character at hand would have to be Pyramid Head, not only due to his iconic status and killer design, but also because I thought it would be fun to design the ultimate slow sword fighter heavyweight archetype, while also keeping him true to his appearance in Silent Hill 2. I remember bringing the idea up to my friend ViviVinya a few years ago. Vivi ended up vibing with the concept quite a lot, and it was then that she decided to not only play Silent Hill 2 for herself, to better familiarize herself with the character and the game, but also to work on a Silent Hill 2 stage for Workshop. However, animating Pyramid Head was proving to be quite a nightmare on itself, so when he became a part of the Final Frenzy, we got the help of Artist of Seer and JH to handle his animations, where Seer made a rough version of many of his animations and JH polished them up. But now comes the question, who is Pyramid Head exactly? I'll let Vivi herself explain the myth behind the monster. Hello everyone! So, Pyramid Head is... familiar voice? Do I sound like VVizard's voiceover? My name is Vivi. I don't sound like a, translation, do I? Anyways, Pyramid Head, also known as the Executioner, serves as the most prominent major monster and boss throughout Silent Hill 2. after James received a strange letter from his late wife Mary and arrives in the mysterious town of Silent Hill, he encounters this monster in various important yet eerie buildings. This metal-headed man is intent on following James, brandishing his horrible great knife, and later, great spear. You'd think such a creature would have been noted by others visiting the town, but somehow, Pyramid Head is only James's monster. It seems he represents something about James's psyche, but what could it be? After the release of Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head quickly gained a lot of popularity, later reappearing in other Silent Hill games like Silent Hill the Arcade, Homecoming, and Book of Memories, as well as appearing in both of the Silent Hill live-action movies. Even if those appearances don't make much sense, or weren't in line with how he was portrayed in his original appearance, they certainly brought new concepts and design elements to the character. At the time of this video's release, Silent Hill 2 will also be receiving a complete from-the-ground-up remake, with some of the original developers returning to this new project. Let's hope this new remake will be a great alternative interpretation of the original Silent Hill 2, and hopefully the original game can be properly re-released in the future as well. Pyramid Head also appeared in a variety of crossover games, the main one being his appearance in Dead by Daylight, which also served as one of his inspirations for his moveset in Rivals Workshop. The Dead by Daylight team took a very authentic approach to his characterization, which we did our best to emulate as well. Rather than just your average monster, Pyramid Head is a representation of guilt and punishment. So in Rivals, his moveset revolves around creating fear and punishing you for being afraid. If you can face your fears, you have a much better chance at surviving to the end of the match. Pyramid Head as a fighter in Rivals Workshop is a slow, heavyweight powerhouse, reflecting his strengths from the original game. What he lacks in speed though, he easily makes up for in range, with his titanic knife causing strikes that in themselves are larger than most fighters. Attacks like neutral air demonstrate this monstrous range well. Of course, his longest range move would have to be his one projectile attack, the neutral special, Spears of Torment. Well, at first they seem like a regular projectile that flies in an arc. You'll notice that when an opponent is struck, a rusty aura forms around them, and a mysterious number ticks just beneath them. This is Pyramid Head's primary gimmick, Torment. Being hit by one of Pyramid Head's attacks in this state causes additional damage the next time you're hit, proportional to the number below. And while he's in this ring, he gains armor while and just before he's attacking. This can rack up damage very fast. This is where you conquer your fears. You can get rid of your Torment, causing all potential bonus damage to disappear by hitting Pyramid Head within your ring, or parrying his moves. You can't get rid of it if you hit him from a distance though, so no camping him out. Just be sure to time and space your moves well. In addition to neutral special, his spears appear in up tilt, down strong, and back air. Hitting the tip of these moves will also give Torment. As you can also see, Torment can stack up to 3 times, which increases potential damage rate and ring radius. While we're here, I'd like to mention that back air can also stick to walls. You can jump from it or drop down, so it can be good for recovery and movement mix-ups. Though if you try it too much at one time, his hand may slip, so watch out. For Pyramid Head's forward special, it's the Punishment of the Damned. This move actually comes from his appearance from Dead by Daylight. Pyramid Head stabs his sword on the ground and drags it forward, charging forward while the button is held. If you release the button or Pyramid Head reaches the end of a platform, he releases the built-up energy and summons a great hitbox in front of him. You can even turn around and swing the sword behind you to really catch your opponents off guard. If used in the air, Pyramid Head instead performs a giant horizontal swing that covers his entire body. However, there's much more to this move. If you hit someone while they have the Torment status, the forward special attack instead will trigger their Torment, and trap the opponent momentarily in a state of punishment, where multi-hitting hitboxes damage the opponent for a while. This gives Pyramid Head a great opportunity to follow up with his devastating attacks. Also keep in mind, the higher level of Torment the opponent has, the longer they'll be trapped in this multi-hit nightmare. Pyramid Head's down special is the Final Judgment. On its own, this move is very basic. Pyramid Head simply grabs anyone in front of him, rises them up, and throws them either forwards or backwards. This move on its own can be a great combo starter, but it's with the Torment status where this move really shines. If Pyramid Head grabs someone while they have the Torment status, instead of throwing them like usual, Pyramid Head will reach out and remove one of the opponent's spears, causing massive damage in the process. Not only does this attack deal a lot of damage very fast, but it's great for creating tech chase opportunities. And even better, the real beauty of this attack happens when Pyramid Head performs the final judgment while the opponent is above 150%, where instead of simply causing damage, Pyramid Head will instantly kill his opponent. This attack has a very odd origin. Unlike his other attacks, this move instead comes from the Silent Hill movie, in a scene where Pyramid Head raises a woman with a single hand and cleanly removes her skin off with the other hand. This scene had such an impact on VVizard that we just had to somehow adapt it into his moveset here in Workshop. And finally, for his up special, it's the move Deathbound. This is one of the more fun move concepts we came up with. For his recovery tool, Pyramid Head shoves his spear right up to his neck, before making his entire body disappear and sending his Pyramid Head flying upwards. The head has a hitbox of its own, which can somewhat protect his recovery back to the stage. When the head lands, his body is recreated like nothing ever happened. This move also comes from Silent Hill 2, during his final boss fight. After he's defeated, Pyramid Head instead loses his purpose, ending his nightmarish presence. To reflect that concept here, when Pyramid Head uses his up special, any and all opponents will instantly lose their Torment status. Now before we move on to his home stage, let's take a look at some of his more notable animations and details. In his first boss fight in Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head is capable of using two different attacks with his blade, one of which he lazily slings the blade forward, represented with his forward tilt, and another attack where he slams the knife forward with all of his might. We ended up adopting this monstrous attack with his forward strong, easily being one of the biggest and strongest attacks in all of Workshop. In this boss fight, Pyramid Head has another attack in which he grabs James by the neck and taunts him using his tongue? Yeah, Pyramid Head has a long tongue inside of that helmet of his. We ended up adapting this quirk of his in the form of his down tilt. Here, he swipes his giant tongue in front of him, trying to scoop up anyone in his path. His tongue will also come loose during a certain hurt animation. Unlike what you might expect, Pyramid Head is actually in quite a bit of pain. Well, maybe you could tell by the giant iron pyramid on his head. Anyways, although he's strong, his aches show through in many animations, such as the reckless way he swings his sword in up strong, and grasping his head after up air. Artist of Seer, the lead animator for this project, did an excellent job balancing the power and pain of Pyramid Head's actions. Pyramid Head's taunt was a bit tricky to conceptualize, since there's not a lot of material as to what exactly his taunt would be, so we ended up going with this proud pose he makes when he pushes James off the hospital roof in Silent Hill 2. You can even hold this pose for as long as you want. Well, assuming James isn't there to pester him. Speaking of James, he's an accompanying buddy. Carrying his first weapon, the wooden plank, he'll wander behind the player in search of his wife. During his taunt, when he's not paired with Pyramid Head, he'll pull out a picture of Mary and make a comment. Here's the picture at full detail, if you were curious. He has a few other referential details, but I'll leave those for the fellow Sunderland fans to find. Of course, Pyramid Head can't exist without James, so regardless of being selected, he'll show up in the intro. Looks like he wasn't so lucky this time. You may also notice the bars in front of Pyramid Head are the same that he's seen behind the very first time he shows up. Now let's talk about his trailer. It was actually planned a long time ago, with the setup going back to even Ganondorf's trailer. It's revealed that Ganon was supposed to show up as a witness for Nemesis' trial, but what could have prevented him from showing? Meanwhile, James Sunderland receives another mysterious letter with a VV stamp. Before he can open it though, it flies away. As it flutters over the outhouse, we can finally see where Ganondorf's been all this time. As James climbs up, we can see the King of Evil may have met his horrifying match, as Pyramid Head easily strikes him down, in the same gruesome way Link did in Twilight Princess. Then, when we see the letter in his hand, it's clear who from Silent Hill is joining this fight. This leads beautifully into Altali's artwork for Pyramid Head. It resembles a painting found within Silent Hill 2, but seems some of the Final Frenzy crew are caged instead. Ganondorf and Nemesis certainly have their sins to atone for. And hey, since we're talking about some behind the scenes stuff now, I'd love to give you a special segment about the details of Pyramid Head's development. First, here's the original Pyramid Head sprite. It's strange to see him so small, and his knife could barely reach anywhere comparatively. I was dissatisfied with the result after some time, so I redrew it as the one we see now. As an aside, his new sprite stands with his back facing the viewer to make him appear more like an ominous boss character. And here's a way many fighters start, with moveset sketches. These pages were made throughout the early stages of his development, just to get an idea of the keyframes we'd work with. Here's some material provided by Seer to make animating him easier. I like to think of this one as the knife circle of hell. He provided his own motion reference material too. And speaking of, I actually animated a few reference animations myself in the program Miku Miku Dance. Sierra and JH translated these animations beautifully into sprite art, and I'm really proud of our collaborative effort. As a bonus, here's a funny story. When searching for good reference material for Pyramid Head's attacks, many boss playthroughs wouldn't have great visuals on his strikes, but VVizard found that, somehow, Video Game Donkey's old Silent Hill 2 video had an almost perfect angle for animation reference. Who knew a gag like this would prove more useful than serious playthroughs? Finally, we can talk about Pyramid Head's home stage, Toluca Lake. Well, more specifically, it's the outhouse right by the town of Silent Hill that overlooks the lake. This is one of the most iconic locations from the series, as it's the in-game opening to Silent Hill 2, and the place where the ever-memorable letter monologue from James takes place. The texture for the town in the distance, the grittiness of the cement, and even the graffiti on the walls have all been lovingly recreated here. The theme of this stage is to emulate surviving a full night in the town. Although it starts in the daytime, the surrounding fog never lets up. Here, the stage layout is totally flat. As a stock is taken though, it starts to get darker, and the fog sets in even more. Suddenly, 2 platforms rise from the restroom. Strange, a building like this shouldn't have moving structures, right? As the fight goes on, it becomes the thick of night. You can barely see outside of the very middle of the stage, and hide in the darkness if you're brave enough. But soon, dawn comes, and even later, the fog rises, and the strange platforms disappear, looping all over again. On the basic form of the stage, the visually impeding elements are less severe. The stage contains 3 haunting songs from the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack, as well as my final chiptune remix, a medley of Silent Hill songs called I See That Town. The idea for it came to me when I realized the noise channel in Family Tracker sounded a lot like the radio static from the Silent Hill games. I used that as a transition between different parts in the medley. And speaking of, Pyramid Head's victory music is... well, it certainly fits his character. Well, it looks like it's finally time to wrap up this presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is a very important project to VVizard and myself, as well as the whole team. Viz will be giving a more formal conclusion in a moment, but I'd like to give a personal note. The psychological horror genre is very important to me. I grew up being influenced by the likes of Ebe, The Crooked Man, Witch's House, and other fantastic indie horror games. Playing Silent Hill 2 for the first time, just before I was certain I would want to tackle Silent Hill stuff with VVizard, I realized firsthand just how much influence the story and atmosphere of Silent Hill 2 had on the artists that impacted me so, and I knew it would be important to help make a love letter of sorts for this monumental game. Its story is gut-wrenching and yet breathtaking. I hope that, for those who enjoy this workshop content and have yet to experience the game, you can connect with it as deeply as I was able to. For the project of the fighter himself, I actually took on more of a directorial role, outlining many attacks, providing resources, picking up smaller parts of the fighter, and coding certain tricky mechanics and moves. It's because of this that I'm especially thankful for JH and Artists of Seer for bearing with me throughout the project. You two have earned my eternal gratitude, and I hope I wasn't a struggle to work with. I'd also like to note that I put my best effort to make Pyramid Head as accurate to his lore and characterization as possible, while still being a holistic, celebratory fan project. Masahiro Ito, the character designer for most of the series' iconic monsters, historically had his wishes involving Pyramid Head disregarded by official material for the character to become a mascot. In this project, I want to make it especially clear that our fighter was a labor of love for not just the character, but for what he represents in the story of Silent Hill 2 and what he means to James. With all my heart, I hope this was a respectful interpretation of the character, and shows nothing but our love and admiration for Ito's incredible works. Although it was quite a journey, I'm proud of the work all of us have put forward on Pyramid Head. I'll be here with y'all through the whole final frenzy, and there's a lot more excitement to be had soon, so I'll let VVizard and his voiceover artist ViviVinya take it from here. Thank you so much, and I wish you have fun. And there it is! With that, we conclude this presentation and the long journey that was working on Pyramid Head. I say this without exaggeration. This was probably one of the most complicated characters to develop, from the early stages of crafting his moveset design, to working on each of his animations, all of which is due to our desire to honor both the character as well as the Silent Hill series. Silent Hill is a very important series, not only for us, but for many fans all around the world. It's because of that popularity and somewhat niche status and limited availability that it's very easy to lose the core essence of this series when adapting and translating it to other media and titles. That was the reason we took the utmost care to represent both Silent Hill as well as Pyramid Head here in Workshop, and I hope we were able to make justice to the artistic beauty of this brilliant series. Unlike Resident Evil and our Nemesis mod, which represent a more physical side of survival horror, focusing on inventory management and survival itself, Silent Hill and Pyramid Head represent another side of survival horror, that being the psychological side. We designed Pyramid Head here to represent the feeling of determination in facing your fears, and the desire for punishment, as well as accepting your mistakes to keep moving forward, leaving behind and learning to live with your fears and traumas. Of course, this project wouldn't have been possible without the help of the brilliant artists that helped lend a hand in this project. I would like to first thank ViviVinya, who not only provided voiceover for this presentation, but also for being on this project since the very start. She also contributed to the trailer's intro, creating the Toluca Lake stage, as well as the James Buddy, and of course, helping on bringing life to Pyramid Head. I would like to also give major thanks to both Artist of Seer and JH. Without their collaboration, none of this would have been possible. It was thanks to their brilliant work and talent that Pyramid Head was able to be animated in such a faithful and perfect manner. Thanks so much to both of you. And of course I would like to also thank Altali, who made a terrific job creating the thumbnail artwork for Pyramid Head. And I believe this is all. Silent Hill is a very important series to me, one of which I'm honored to bring a small part of it to you all here on Rivals Workshop. Pyramid Head, as well as the James Buddy, will be releasing as soon as this presentation ends. With that, I will see you all soon, as soon as we're finished with our next VVizard's Final Frenzy character. I hope you all have enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you enjoy the work we did for Pyramid Head. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be here, waiting for you.